since you showed me intuitively, you can figure out how to get a rise over run. You guys see that right there? That just means 2 points, okay? So like let's say, just for example, we had point 1, 2, and from our warm-up, this isn't even our warm-up points, but like 55, 56, okay? We could call this point 1, point 2. Oops. That's all that subscript means. It doesn't mean like an exponent or anything. It just means first point, second point to stay organized. And so what that means is as a formula, which you intuitively already did with the 2 points far away from each other I gave you for a warm-up, is the slope is equal to the difference in the y values over the difference in the x values. And this is how I want you to have this equation memorized in your head, because I'll let you know. 8th grade, Mr. Mac. Yes, I made all of my friends call me Mr. Mac in 8th grade even, okay? 8th grade, Mr. Mac. Memorized the formula. Got all the answers right. Had no idea why it worked, and then forgot it later. I want you to have this forever. Which means in our head, slope is rise over run. How do we get up and down? It's the change in our y values. How do we get side to side? It's the change of our x values. Are you guys seeing that? Why it works? Because then you won't forget it. If you stash it up here as rise over run, you can then bring in the y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. And remember, those little 2's and 1's are just differentiating between first point and second point. The next question I often get is, why do we have to do the second point minus the first one? Well, you kind of don't have to, because you can establish each point as point 1 or point 2. It wouldn't matter. But if I say I have $1 and Leah has 10, we do 10 minus 1 to get the difference, okay? Does that make sense? So that's kind of why. We take the first point away from the second point. That will tell us how to get from the first one to the second. So let's take a look at number 1 with this in mind, all right? Number 1, your notes. We'll do this one straight up together. So again, the rise is up and down, and what I'm going to make the formula do is say, how do I get from 1 to 3? Well, 3 minus 1 would tell me that, wouldn't it? Are you guys seeing that visual? 1 on the y up to 3 on the y? Okay. And in my denominator, I need to go from 1 to 4. So I can do that by doing 4 minus 1. How do I get from 1 to 4? I think we can intuitively see that 2/3 there, but we're practicing using the equation right now. So the slope is 2/3. M is always the letter for slope. We're always going to write our slope in simplest form. All right? So looking at number 2, things get changed up. We need to go from a 4 on the y all the way down to -2. So -2 minus 4, yeah, that's 6 down, right? 2 to 0 is 2, 4 more down, okay? And then I need to go from -2 all the way over to 10. 10 minus -2. Notice, did I write minus -2? No, I wrote plus 2 because minus -2 is plus 2, okay? Are you guys seeing how the visual is making the math happen? You won't forget it then. It'll make sense, right? Do you see how it'd be easy to get task-oriented by just substituting things in? Yeah, that's what I did. Don't do what I did, okay? I also threw a drumstick as high as I could in the sky during a fire drill and got detention. Don't do that either, okay? -6 over 12 simplifies to -1/2. Still remember having to spend time with Mr. Austin and his permed mullet. Yep, Mr. Austin, my assistant principal, had a permed mullet. All right, looking at number 3. Again, I'm looking rise over run. Difference in y's over difference in x's. So I'm going to do -5 minus 5 and a -8 plus 4. To see how I went from 5 to -5, I had to go left 10. That's why that's -10. Or sorry, not left 10. I had to go up 10. Down 10. My bad. 5 to -5 is down 10. And on the x's, I had to go from -4 to -8, which is 4 left. But here's what you're going to notice. What's a negative divided by a negative? Positive. So my answer is 5/2 for the slope there, okay? My answer is 5/2. You do not want to write that as a decimal, because like if you're going from point to point, I can go up 5, right 2, pretty easy on a graph. Up 2.5, right 1, not as easy because it wouldn't be on a grid line. So you'll see slopes as improper fractions a lot because you can count those on a grid line. on a graph. All right. One more before I set you free to try some. You ready? So from 0 up to 4, and from 10 all the way down to negative 2, and I get 4 over negative 12 for a slope of negative 1/3. So that negative, you're going to notice I had it in the denominator because I had to go from 10 down to negative 2, which is 12 down. But in my answer, the negative is on my numerator. That's a mathematical organizational thing you're going to see. Your teacher's going to do it. Your textbook's going to do it. Khan Academy's going to want it like that for right answers. Okay? It's an organizational thing. And here's why it works. A fraction is what operation? Division. And when you divide two numbers, if either one is negative, your answer is... If one of them is negative, your answer is always negative. So it doesn't change the answer of my division problem. And organizationally, you're less likely to lose it. So like always, it'll always be in the numerator or out front sometimes. Does that make sense? Because kids will get caught up, like, that's not my answer. And be like, okay, negative 1/3 is 1 over negative 3. It's like the same thing. But organizationally, we're always going to see it as negative 1/3. Cool? Cool. So you're going to try out this next group on your own. 5 through 10. Try it out. You can actually go through 12. There's 2 more on the back, but I'm not going to put them on the video notes. So try it out, and we'll reconvene and see how we did. Maybe I can have some people tell me how they did it, since I can't hand this around this year. Let's see. Ezra, help me out. What's your favorite color? Hey, me too. Twinsies. Okay. So, how did you find the y2 minus y1 for number 5? Okay, 9 minus 9, and then what'd you do for the difference in your x's? 3 minus 5, but did you notice it didn't matter what it was because 0 divided by anything is a slope of 0. All right, Ace, you're up. What's your favorite color that isn't blue? Orange. You glad I asked you to do this next? Okay, tell me how you found the difference in your y values.
I did 5 minus 8.
Okay, and how'd you find the difference in your x values?
I did 7 plus 7.
So negative 7. And I think, hopefully everybody noticed, you can't divide by 0. Undefined. That was a throwback to Slope Dude. Remember him? Yeah, that was yesterday. All right, next. Leah, what's your favorite color that isn't blue or orange?
Oh, red.
All right. How did you find your difference in y values?
Number 7.
Yep.
I did 3 minus 9 over 2 plus 1.
All right, I'm cool with that. Negative 6/3 simplifies to a good old negative 2. Now, some of you might have had a negative 2 over 1. Not wrong, but what's negative 2 divided by 1? Negative 2. So usually you'll see the slope listed as a whole number if it's a whole number, and we just need to know all whole numbers are over the number 1. Because if you do, like, let's say you're going from a point to a point, and you went down 2 and didn't go right 1, what would your slope be if you just went down 2? It'd be vertical, right, undefined. So you need that 1, but we don't write it because it's a little weird to write divided by 1 because it's negative 2 then. All right, Nate, what's your favorite color that's not up there?
Green.
All right. How did you get your difference in y's?
So first I did 6 plus 4.
For your difference in y values?
Oh, y values? Oh, I did negative 2 minus 3.
Yeah, that's my numerator. What'd you do in the basement there?
6 plus 4.
Okay, cool. And I've got negative 15/10, which simplifies to a negative 3/2.
Yeah.
All right. Any volunteers to help me with this next one? All right, Tyler, what color you want?
Yellow, I guess.
That could show up interesting. Okay, let's try. I'm going to try more of a golden. All right. So what am I going to do for my numerator?
5 minus 6.
Okay.
And then 6 minus 5.
Okay, that's kind of showing up not well. Okay, slope would then be negative 1. All right, number 10, Oliver. What color should we try?
Purple.
I like purple. All right. how am I going to set this up, brother?
So, I did -4 minus -4, which is
So I'm going to do -4 plus 4, same thing, only different,
So you
okay?
got the 0, and then 1 minus 9.
Yeah, count, okay.
Negative
So
8.
0 over -8,
Yep.
what does that pump out?
0.
0. 0 divided by -8 is 0. Cool. How we feeling, guys?
Good.
Pretty good. All right. Time to make this more interesting then, friends. So this next skill, notice, instead of given 2 points, you find the slope, we are given the slope and 3 out of 4 coordinates of 2 points. Good news is we have almost everything we need for the same slope formula already. So check it out. The slope equals the difference in y values over the difference in x values. You guys see that I just used the same exact equation we've been using?
Wait, why is it plus?
Because it's minus negative.
Oh.
So it is subtraction, but
Yeah.
you know, it gets, when you get with integers, it gets messy because sometimes subtraction is addition, sometimes addition is subtraction. Sometimes you do like a different operation than it looks like because things are positive and negative, right? So yeah, instead of messing with a minus negative, I'd always write it like this. Now, here's the deal. There's going to be 2 ways to go about this. Way 1 is like I'm going to call number sense and intuition. You would hurry up and do nothing but think. So let me take you through how you might go about that. So see how this numerator is 8, and I need the whole thing to equal 2. That means I would need my whole denominator to be what? 4, because 8 divided by 4 is 2. Well, if I need my denominator to be 4, what would x have to be? 1. That's like the do nothing but think hard way. My personal favorite way, because I like solving equations, is to set this up as a proportion. And we did proportion with some similar figures in the geometry unit. Anybody remember that kangaroo in the shadow problem? Or the tree in the shadow problem? Okay. And it's all based on the fact that if something is proportional, cross products are equal. Right? So you guys all agree with what I wrote off to the side? 1/2 is equal to 5/10. Cross products are both 10, right? 10 equals 10. It's always true with everything that forms a proportion forever. So you can actually take that same idea and apply it to this proportion. You can say that 8 equals 2x plus 6. For the same reasons that 10 equals 10 here. And I like doing this because then I get to solve an equation. So 2x equals 2 divided by 2, and x is 1. So you have to distribute, right? It's this whole thing times this whole thing. If I have 2x plus 3s, x plus 3 twice would be 2x's and 6. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at number 15 next because there's a y variable there. And I'll go over both methods with you, okay? So way 1 is I know my slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the hurry up and do nothing but think method says I've got a -2 down here. So to have this side equal this side, I would need my numerator to be a positive 9. Are you guys seeing that? Well, if I want this to be a positive 9, my y would have to be 5. But you know me, I'm the kind of savage that gets those crayons at the restaurant when the restaurant's open, and I do big old distributive math problems on the back for fun. So I'm going to do cross products, and I get 2y plus 8 equals 18. Okay? And cross products are always equal. That's why I can do it. Oliver? No, it's 2y plus 4s, right? So that's 2y and 8. This says I have y plus 4 twice.
Oh, I thought it said y plus y.
Okay. So then I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. If 2y is 10, then y is 5. Same answer, right, as we did with intuition. I don't care which way you use. All right? So I'm going to have you pick... I don't care out of these other 4 that you can see up there. I don't care if you... I don't care which 2 you do. I want you to pick one that's missing an x and one that's missing a y, all right? So So I'm just going to show you guys the answers to those with the work. So if you were to watch the video notes, you could pause it and just check it out. Or pause it and hit the bell icon and make a comment or something. Okay. Any other questions on these? So again, when you stash this thing in your brain noggin, I don't want you to think of it as the set of tasks. I want you, it's still all slope is equal to the differences of y's to the differences of x's. Are you seeing that's like really the same thing? Because that's how I want it upstairs. All right, are there any that we still need to look at? Yeah, Oliver?
So why do you do like on these and on these you do addition and on the other one you subtraction?
Well, on these ones, there's only addition if there's a minus and negative situation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so instead of writing, it still is subtraction kind of, but it's minus and negative. So instead of writing minus negative, I just write plus because it's easier.
Okay. A lot of them are.
Yeah. So you try to generalize a rule and then, yep. Cool, we're good? All right, so your homework's on Go Formative. I need to open it up. Pretty universally, the math teachers are going to, on Go Formative, give you green dots after submission. So let me tell you why. We have some people, like, not doing the best job at understanding the things that they don't understand, I think, because, like, even if you do it 4 times to get the green light, you finish, it's all green, it seems like all gravy. What I want you to take note of is if you submit it and then there's, like, 4 wrong, look for something similarly wrong in the 4, and then, like, you make a bigger brain impact to fix that. Does that make sense? So you're still going to get dots, only after you submit, but you're going to have the opportunity to resubmit. I'm allowing multiple submissions on the homework. Does that make sense? Also, to help you out, how do I know you're doing slope? M equals tells me you're doing slope, okay? Another reminder, there isn't one of these deals in Go Formative, so undefined if you get a vertical line. All right? So I'll go open that up.